we should actually check all of the cameras, go through every video, even if it looks like it might be wind or whatever. If it's gonna take a bit of time, but even if it's wind triggers, check every video.
Just get this ready and done. So we're going to be placing out this camera at this hyena den site, just up this drainage line here. She's got a tracking collar on her neck, and we noticed that for the last 4 days she hasn't moved from the den site itself. She stayed within about 50 meters from the den site. Last night was the first time, you can see her tracks, it was the first time that she actually left the den, so she definitely had cubs here. But because of that active snare line that we had just at the back on the neighboring property, I do want to monitor and just make sure that none of the hyenas here has got any snares on. So while we've got an active den site here, we know they're going to spend time. We need to put up the camera trap to monitor. What I did see, the holes that are active at this stage, I think is more on that side. See that large tree is? Okay, just next to that is the termite ground. There's one hole on that side, remember, where I can see that she was going in and out. So it's either that one or the ones on the side, but we need to pick a spot there that you've got a nice coverage, nice view. Not too low, because you know what the hyena did with the other camera. Put it nice and high. It's got a solar panel that you put up, so you don't need to change batteries. It's got the antenna, because it's 4G. So you've got a SIM card and a memory card in it, and then this sends notifications out every time that there's movement in front of the camera. It also records it, then you can view it live from any of the handsets that's connected to it, and you can record straight to your phone as well. So it helps a lot to monitor wildlife, but also for anti-poaching operations, anti-poaching purposes. We've actually used these cameras successfully to apprehend poachers in the past.
There's one property in particular that we've got in the area that is quite problematic. We've done a lot of work on there. We've had a lot of poaching incidents. We've lost quite a few endangered and threatened species there to poaching. We've removed a lot of snares from that area as well, and it's both snare poaching, rifle poaching, dogs now recently as well. The guys coming in with large packs of dogs. So it is problematic, and one of the biggest problems is the owners of that property. And it's not that big, it's under 1,000 hectares, but it's so important in the landscape where it is. There's permanent water always available on the property, and in the surrounding areas, very large areas, there's no water available. So it's open by default with the Greater Kruger National Park, because the elephants keep flattening the fences and coming in, and now this is pulling in a lot of animals, including wild dog, leopard, hyena, cheetah. There's rhino, there's been rhino on the property. We've lost lions there, unfortunately, as well. All the large predators move in there, and large herds of buffalo. We've picked up aardvark there on multiple occasions on the cameras, or on the drone when we fly with a drone. We've seen tracks of caracal. We have seen honey badger. There's side-striped jackal. So the biodiversity is amazing. And it's very important in that system, because it just keeps pulling in animals because of the water. Now, what happened was the owners of that property has decided they are going to give that property to the local community, but not just one community, to multiple communities in this area. So now they all are going to have access and a say over a property less than 1,000 hectares that's already under immense pressure. And what's going to happen, what's already happening since they announced it, is fences are being cut, fences are being stolen, the trees are being chopped off at an alarming rate, animals are being poached out at a rate that you cannot imagine, and this is going to spill over even more into the adjacent, formerly protected areas. Then you don't have that buffer between the local community and the formerly protected areas. That falls away. So, and this is problematic. We're going to lose that that area, which is quite important in this region. But the water source is always going to be there. That's going to continue pulling the animals out, and you're just going to have a vacuum because animals are being killed and poached, and it's just going to pull more animals out of the formerly protected areas, and it's going to be a never-ending vacuum and a slaughterhouse. So it's problematic because we don't know how to address this situation, because it's not one single community that we can engage and say, guys, okay, let's see if we can work together to keep this in a pristine state. Let's protect this area and make it worth your while. Let you get something out of it, because now what's going to happen, they're just going to clear the land and they're going to do what they're doing around it, and it's little farming plots, and that pulls elephants and all sorts of animals out, and it's just causing a lot of problems. So it's sad that this is what is on the horizon in the near future. We're already fighting against it. We're seeing how it's escalating, and there's so much more that can be done with that area.